very warm welcome. You're welcome to the World News on Souqnews Television. We're reaching you live from our studios in Lagos. I am Grace Komalafe. To begin, we'll bring you some of the top stories. President Bola Tinubu appoints Idris Olorunnimbe to lead NCC and drive Nigeria's digital expansion. In a new development, Dangote Refinery slashes price of premium motor spirit by 30 naira. AFDB backs AI training to accelerate Agenda 2063 implementation for economic development. International Energy Agency warns of record oil surplus in 2026. An English Premier League club, West Ham United, shifts transfer focus from Nigerian Oyetola to Congo's Mokau. Thank you for joining us on the World News this afternoon. Now we'll bring you this story in details. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Idris Olorunnimbe as chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Nigeria's telecommunications regulator, while also constituting the boards of the Commission and the Universal Service Provision Fund. Olorunnimbe, a former board member of the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, is known for championing youth employment and entrepreneurship programs. The new board will oversee policy direction for a sector contributing over 13% to Nigeria's GDP, with priorities including expanding broadband penetration, strengthening telecom infrastructure, and improving service quality. Olorunnimbe will work alongside NCC Executive Vice Chairman Aminu Maida and serve as Vice Chairman of the USPF Board, chaired by Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani. The USPF is tasked with promoting affordable and universal access to information and communication technology services in rural, unserved, and underserved areas. Its mandate is aimed at bridging Nigeria's digital divide, boosting social equity, and fostering economic development in marginalized communities. Now, the federal government has launched a virtual interactive platform to strengthen understanding and enforcement of the Code of Conduct for public officers across Nigeria. Introduced in Abuja by head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Ms. Didi Wilson-Jack, the tool aims to promote integrity, ethical conduct, and transparency across the civil service. Developed by the Technical Unit on Governance and Anti-Corruption Reforms in collaboration with the Code of Conduct Bureau. The platform offers digital access to ethical guidelines and targeted trainings for public servants nationwide. Wilson-Jack described the platform as a timely and critical measure for sustaining public service reforms, noting that it removes ignorance as an excuse for misconduct. TUGA Director Jane Onwumere highlighted its cost-effectiveness, accessibility, and capital to track compliance, ensuring uniform understanding of the code's provisions. The Code of Conduct Bureau Chairman Dr. Abdullahi Bello stressed that the tool provides practical examples to guide officers on issues such as avoiding conflicts of interest and making proper assets declarations. Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Lateef Fagbemi, called the initiative a reaffirmment of the government's commitment to good governance, stressing that digitalizing the code will boost preventive compliance and transparency. And now the Dangote Refinery has reduced the export price of premium motor spirit PMS by 30 naira, lowering the cost from 850 naira to 820 naira per litre with immediate effect. In a statement issued on Tuesday, the 12th of August, the refinery described the price cut as part of its commitment to national development and support for economic stability. It assured Nigerians of a steady and uninterrupted supply of petroleum products. The refinery also announced plans to enhance fuel distribution nationwide through the phased deployment of 4,000 compressed natural gas CNG-powered trucks starting August 15, 2025. According to the company, this initiative aligns with its vision for operational excellence and sustainable energy solutions, while also promoting cleaner fuel alternatives in Nigeria's transport and logistics sectors. And now in Lagos, the state recorded the highest premium motor speed distribution in June 2025, receiving over 205.6 million litres, according to data from the Nigerian Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Ogun State ranked second with 88.6 million litres, while Jigawa had the lowest at 9.4 million litres. The national fuel supply for June totaled 1.48 billion litres, representing a 16.42% drop from May's 1.77 billion litres. The decline, amounting to 290.5 million litres, has been attributed by industry analysts to operational challenges and reduced import volumes, which may affect retail supply stability in certain states. The regulatory authorities state-by-state backdown revealed distribution disparity reflecting regional consumption and logistical capacity. Officials will closely track July's figures to gauge the potential impact on fuel availability and pricing nationwide. And away from that story, the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) and the Nigeria Customs Service (NCS) have intensified preparations for the launch of the National Single Window (NSW) scheme, scheduled for March 2026. FIRS Executive Chairman Dr. Zach Adedeji, Customs Controller General Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, and the National Single Window Scheme Project Director Tola Fakolade, alongside senior officials, met at the NCS headquarters in Abuja to refine modalities for the scheme's rollout. The meeting focused on accelerating system integration and strengthening interagency collaboration to ensure smooth implementation. Officials reviewed progress on the landmark trade facilitation initiative, which is expected to overhaul Nigeria's import and export processes, improve revenue collection, and enhance competitiveness in global trade. Launched by President Bola Tinubu in April 2024, the National Single Window Scheme will provide a centralized digital platform for all trade-related transactions, linking systems across government agencies. The platform aims to simplify documentation, improve transparency, cut clearance times, and reduce business costs, positioning Nigeria for greater efficiency in international commerce. And now the National Sugar Development Council has urged farmers and investors to seize emerging opportunities in Nigeria's sugar sector, valued at over $2 billion United States dollars. Executive Secretary Kama Bakrin made the appeal in Abuja while receiving members of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria. He emphasized that scaling up domestic sugar production could generate jobs, diversify the economy, and save foreign exchange currently spent on imports. Bakrin said the federal government remains committed to boosting the sector through favorable policies, targeted incentives, and strategic partnership that will support both cultivation and processing. He added that the sugar industry is a profitable venture with significant untapped potential, stressing that Nigeria's import dependence can be sharply reduced if stakeholders expand production capacity. He encouraged farmers and agribusiness investors to explore the rising domestic demand for sugar and its derivatives, noting that the industry offers consistent market growth. Bakrin reaffirms the Council's readiness to provide technical guidance, facilitate partnerships, and promote initiatives that will strengthen Nigeria's position in the global sugar value chain. And moving on the world news this afternoon, the Natural Insurance Industry Reform Act, NIRA, recently signed into law by President Bola Tinubu, has made it compulsory for all petroleum and gas refining stations, as well as vehicles transporting these products, to be insured against third-party losses from accidental fires or explosions. According to the National Insurance Commission, NICOM, the legislation imposes strict penalties for non-compliance, Owners of petroleum or gas refilling stations operating without third-party insurance risk a minimum fine of 1 million naira or imprisonment for at least 2 years. Section 75 of the Act specifically requires that the valid insurance certificate be visibly displayed at all refilling stations or included in transport documents for vehicles in transit. This provision aims to enhance safety, protect and public and ensure accountability in the downstream petroleum sector. NICOM stressed that the measure is designed to reduce the financial and social impact of industrial accidents, safeguard communities, and strengthen enforcement of safety standards across the industry. And now we'll be taking a break. We'll return to more stories after now. Please stay with us.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas touch and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Afrobeats is a classic overnight success story, except it didn't happen overnight. I'm happy to be here. One of the key things about the Omniverse is that it's designed to go beyond an event and designed to be fully something that people can engage beyond the summit. The point being that Nigeria has so much to bring to the world in terms of these things, but we will be bringing fresh energy, fresh ideas, a fresh engagement, and we're obviously open to collaboration. But hip-hop, this never dies. What's the difference between Thor and Shango? Thor is approaching $50 billion in revenue. Shango's broke somewhere outside Lagos. And that's a lack of imagination on our part, Africa, and they're all Nigerian. So to be seen and to be noticed is very hard if you're not in the place where all the noise is being made.
The National Theatre, Igomu, built during the military regime of Olusegun Obasanjo and finished in the time for the Second World Festival of Black Arts and Culture, FESTAC, in 1977. The theater holds amazing treasures and memories. The artworks fill everyone with pride. The National Arts Theatre is visible from the motorway which connects Lagos Island and the mainland. The National Theatre is packed with the artworks of a legendary contemporary Nigerian artist, stained glass walls by Yusuf Grillo, sculptures and murals by Lamidi Fakeye, Erabo Emopai, and many others. It was put to full use for a month as one of the 4 venues of the second World Black and African Festival of Arts and Culture, tagged Festac 77. The complex hosted 16,000 participants from 56 African countries and the diaspora in an unprecedented showcase of African music, fine art, literature, drama, dance, and religion. The National Art Theatre was built and designed by Techno Expert Stroll, a Bulgarian company mirroring the Palace of Culture and Sports in Varna, Bulgaria. Completed in 1976, the building is one of the largest and most beautiful of its kind on the African continent. It consists of a central hall with 5,000 seats, a collapsible stage that can be quickly rebuilt, a conference hall with 1,600 seats, 2 large exhibition halls, and 2 cinemas with 800 seats each. The theater complex has a dressing room for artists, a garage, offices, coffee bars, and a buffet. It has indoor TV and radio systems, as well as booths with facilities for simultaneous translation of languages and hectares of lush green lawn around. The majestic structure sits in Igomu like a quiet mountain, mesmerizing visitors and passers-by. The National Theatre. Souk Enlightenment.
Glad to know you never left. Now we'll bring you more stories. The African Development Bank, AFDB, has provided technical and financial support for an AI-focused training workshop aimed at boosting Africa's progress under the second 10-year plan 2024 to 2033 of Agenda 2063. The 5-day event in Lusaka, Zambia, organized with the African Union Commission and the African Capacity Building Foundation, brought together AU member states to build skills in using AI tools such as Alice, ChatGPT, Google AI Studio, Google Gemini, and Perplexity for monitoring, evaluation, and policy reporting. AFDB-led program coordinator Abibu Tamu said AI is transforming data collection, analysis, and reporting, enabling more targeted policies and efficient resources use. The workshop also fosters peer learning, with participants sharing best practices in national development planning. And our Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, has blamed inadequate support and infrastructure and inevitability issues along the River Niger for the non-operational state of the Baro Inland Port in Niger State. Speaking before the House of Representatives ad hoc committee on stakeholders' engagement on the challenges and prospects of the Baro River Port, Oyetola said poor road and rail links, coupled with shallow stretches of the river, have hindered the port's functionality since its commissioning in 2019. He noted that without efficient transport connections, the port cannot serve as a viable inland gateway for goods and services. The minister assured lawmakers that the federal government remains committed to reviving and facilitating the river ban, which has the potential to decongest seaports, boost trade, and open economic opportunities in Hindas land. He said plans are on the way to address infrastructural deficit and improve rivers' navigability, enabling the ports to operate at full capacity and contribute meaningfully to Nigeria's transport and logistics network. The Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, has underscored industrialization as essential to reserving industrialization, reduction, import dependence, and unlocking Nigeria's manufacturing potential. Ahead of its 31st summit on October 6 to 7, 2025 in Abuja, the group said the country must shift from a consumption-driven economy to one powered by production and value addition. The summit will gather policymakers, business leaders, and entrepreneurs to discuss industrial policy reforms, value chain development, support for small and medium enterprises, and integration of technology and innovation. NESG noted that industrialization could strengthen linkages across agriculture, extractives, and services, thereby driving inclusive growth. The group also called for comprehensive infrastructure and regulatory reforms, improved power supply, trade facilitation, and skills development. It stressed that industrialization demands coordinated public-private action to build a productive national ecosystem capable of making Nigeria the industrial hub of West Africa. And away from that story, Nigeria's federal government has restated its commitment to maintaining uninterrupted gas supply to Togo, Benin Republic, and Ghana to address energy poverty and drive economic growth in West Africa. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekperikpe Eko, made the pledge in Abuja during a meeting with outgoing and incoming managing directors of the West African Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO. Eko, who chaired the Committee of Ministers of the West Africa Gas Pipeline, highlighted that Tinubu administration's progress in expanding gas infrastructure, cutting gas flaring, and boosting availability for export and local consumption. He stressed that regional gas supply remains a priority policy for fueling industry, improving energy access, and fostering prosperity across the sub-region. The minister lauded outgoing WAPCO MD Mitchell Bucket leadership and assured incoming MD Abiodun Bodunrin of government backing to deliver reliable gas supply to regional markets. Bodunrin pledged to focus on operational efficiency and consistent delivery to consumers. Moving on, the South African rand strengthened further on Wednesday morning, supported by a softer United States dollar and investor anticipation of key domestic economic indicators by 0.625 GMT. The rand was trading at 17,5450 against the dollar, about 0.4% stronger than its previous close, after gaining over 1% in the prior session. The move reflects improved sentiment ahead of the release of South Africa's Business Confidence Index and retail sales figures later in the day. Market analysts attribute the currency's resilience to expectations of further interest rate cuts in the United States, which have weighed on the dollar, which had Celia's head of market risk at Treasury One noted that the rand's outlook remains stable, bearing domestic setbacks, although global markets remain sensitive to headlines-driven volatility. Traders are watching closely for fresh signals that could shift short-term momentum. The South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry is set to publish its Business Confidence Index at 0.930 GMT, followed by retail sales data from the National Statistics Agency at 11 GMT. Bond markets were marginally firmer, with the benchmark 2035 government bond yield rising 1.5 basis points to 9.65%, indicating steady demand for local debt instruments despite broader market caution. And moving ahead, India's equities advanced on Wednesday as softer United States inflation data and record low in domestic retail price growth strengthened expectations of a September interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve. The 1950 rose 0.5% to 24,602.9 points, while the BSE Sensex gained 0.38% to 80,526.94 by mid-morning, supported by broad-based sectorial gains and strong performances in small and mid-cap shares. Analysts said the combination of global monetary easing prospects and easing food prices in India had created a positive market backlog. 14 of the 16 major sectors logged gains, with key mover including Apollo Hospitals, which jumped 6% on higher patient volumes. Hindalco gaining 4.3% on strong metal demand, and Nykaa surging 4% after the two-fold rise in quarterly profit. Paytm advanced 3.6% after its payments subsidiary secured preliminary approval from the Reserve Bank of India to operate as an online payment aggregator. Bharat Dynamics climbed 3% on improved quarterly results and a healthy order pipeline. Globally, Asian market tracked Wall Street higher after U.S. consumer prices rose just 0.2% in July, in line with forecasts, lifting the probability of a September Federal Reserve rate cut to 94% from 86% a day earlier. India's retail inflation fell to 1.55% in July, well below the central bank's 2 to 6% tolerance band. Driven mainly by falling food prices, market experts said the combination of supportive domestic data and favorable global cues was likely to sustain investor confidence in the near terms. China's manufacturing sector is cutting wages and reducing working hours as trade war tariffs with the United States intensify cost pressures. Factories like Qatar Global Manufacturing in Foshan have slashed pay by around 30% and shortened shifts to survive fierce competition, especially from Chinese firms forced out of the U.S. markets. The shift has left many workers facing unpaid leave, fewer out-time opportunities, and lower hour pay, with temporary labor now more common to avoid benefit costs. Economists warn that while headlines on employment remain steady, underemployment and falling incomes are eroding consumer confidence and weighing on economic growth. Analysts say the wage squeeze risks creating a deflationary spiral, with companies slashing costs to stay competitive while household spending weakens. The sector's struggles underscores the vulnerability of China's export-driven workforce amid shifting global trade dynamics. We'll take a break and we will come back. We'll be coming with more stories on the World News this afternoon. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Three Wise Men. Iconic sculptures and statues adorn major metropolitan cities of the world. In Lagos, Nigeria, the statue of three men designed to depict the state's cultural heritage and to usher in visitors and tourists into the ever-accommodating center of excellence is no doubt an astounding work of art. Originally built under the administration of Colonel Raji Rasaki, designed by Bodu Shodende in 1991 and standing over 12 feet high, referred to as Agba Meta or Aro Meta, the three sculptured chiefs were placed along the Lagos-Ibadan toll gate to welcome people coming into Lagos State. The statue called the Three Wise Men by many has become a major signature for the state. Three white-capped chiefs clad in white wrappers knotted across their shoulders and with clenched right fists are shown in the artwork. The images fascinate and create impressions in the minds of visitors coming into the state, captivating the attention of visitors who look with keen interest, pondering on the messages which the posture of the engraved images signifies. The Three Wise Men has been relocated thrice from its original position at Ojodu Berger end of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to Magodo area before its final relocation to its present site at Olowo Drive. The sculpture has suffered severe damages over the years and renovated. Bodu Shodende, through this sculpture, depicted the highest honor that can be afforded to anyone in the eco-greeting tradition. The three wise men, Arometa, Souq, Enlightenment.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission, empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, and monitoring and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. For more information, email us at info@adstudiescenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website www.adstudiescenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Thank you for staying with us. You are still watching the World News on Souqnews Television. And now we'll bring you more stories. Global oil markets are set to face a record supply glut in 2026 as slowing demand growth coincides with surging production, according to the International Energy Agency. The agency's latest monthly report projects oil inventories to rise by 2.96 million barrels per day, exceeding the average build-up recorded during the pandemic year of 2020. Demand growth for both 2025 and 2026 is expected to be less than half the pace seen in 2023, signaling weaker consumption trends across major economies. The anticipated surplus is being fueled by expanded production from both OPEC and non-OPEC suppliers, alongside resilient output from the United States and Brazil. This oversupply threatens to exert sustained downward pressure on crude prices, potentially testing the profitability of higher-cost producers and influencing global energy investment patterns. The shift also comes as refiners grapple with slowing fuel consumption in mature markets. Industry analysts warn that prolonged oversupply could trigger renewed tensions within OPEC over output discipline while intensifying competition in global export markets. The IEA's outlook underscores the challenge of balancing production growth with weaker demand, a scenario that could reshape trade flows and impact government revenues in oil-dependent economies. Europe is experiencing a rapid surge in the installation of air conditioning systems as consecutive years of record-breaking summer temperatures transform consumer demand and urban infrastructure planning. Traditionally regarded as unnecessary in most Northern and Central Europe nations, cooling systems are now being adopted on a large scale, particularly in residential and commercial properties. This change reflects an urgent response to intensifying climate conditions that are altering energy consumption patterns across the continent. The shift is creating new growth opportunities for manufacturers, installers, and energy service providers, with sales of cooling units climbing sharply in markets such as Germany, France, France and the United Kingdom. Real estate developers are increasingly integrating air conditioning into new projects, while existing buildings are undergoing retrofits to meet rising comfort and safety expectations. The expansion is also driving increased demand for skilled technicians and specialized components in the cooling industry supply chain. However, the acceleration of cooling adoption raises concerns over energy demand spikes, potential strain on electricity grids, and increased carbon emissions. Policymakers and energy regulators are now weighing incentives for energy-efficient system and renewable-powered cooling solutions to mitigate environmental impact while meeting public health need. The trade mark a significant cultural and economic shift for Europe, where climate adoption is becoming a core part of development strategy. The United Kingdom government has expanded its Deports Now Appeal Later scheme to include 15 additional countries, raising the total to 23. The policy, introduced in 2014, allows the immediate removal of convicted foreign offenders who can only appeal deportation decisions from outside the UK. New additions include India, Canada, Australia, and Malaysia, alongside original countries such as Nigeria, Albania, and Tanzania. Home Secretary Vieti Cooper said the expansion is aimed at preventing offenders from exploiting the immigration systems and ensuring swift removals. Since July 2024, 5,200 foreign offenders have been deported, marking a 14% increase over the previous year. The Home Office has signaled that more nations may be added as bilateral agreements progress. The policy has drawn criticism from human rights groups who argue it undermines fair trial rights and places significant burdens on appellants forced to challenge deportation from abroad. The government maintains the measure is a firm enforcement tool to protect public safety and maintain immigration control. Still in the news, global equity markets reached record highs on Wednesday as investor sentiment improved on the back of softer United States inflation data and expectations of an imminent Federal Reserve interest rate cut. The NSCI All Country World Index climbed to an all-time high of 950.13, with Japan's Nikkei index breaking the 43,000 level for the first time. European shares advanced, led by gains in technology and defense stocks, while the dollar weakened for a second consecutive session. The latest U.S. Consumer Price Index report showed inflation rising slightly less than forecast in July, easing fears of stagflation following earlier weak jobs data. Analysts said the figures reinforced expectations of a rate cut next month, with market pricing showing a 94% probability of such a move. Further optimism came after President Donald Trump signed an executive order delaying steep tariffs on Chinese imports by 9th day, reducing trade tensions. Asian markets were buoyed by positive domestic developments, including improved sentiment in Japan's manufacturing sector and a slowdown in wholesale inflation, which aligned with the Bank of Japan's policy outlook. Risk appetite extended to alternative assets, with either cryptocurrency climbing to a near 4-year high. Bond yields in Germany and the United States moved lower, while crude oil prices slipped modestly. And moving ahead, English Premier League club West Ham United have deprioritized their pursuit of Nigeria international Raphael Onyedika, turning attention to Democratic Republic of Congo midfielder Ngayale Mokau, the 24-year-old Super Eagles star, who has excelled at Club Brugge since joining from Midtjylland 3 years ago, was previously considered a key target for the Hammers during this summer's transfer window. Transfer market reports indicate that West Ham manager Graham Potter is seeking a strong defensive midfielder, with Mokau now emerging as the preferred choice. The 20-year-old Lille player, valued at €20 million, has impressed with his close control, physicality, and work rate, drawing comparison to other successful midfielder talents developed by the French club. Despite shifting priorities, West Ham have not completely ruled out signing Onyedika should their bid for Mukau fail. In the meantime, Onyedika remains focused on helping club Brugge mount a strong challenge for the Belgian Jupiler Pro League title. And bringing you the last story for today, Super Eagles striker Paul Onuachu marks his return from injury with a decisive goal in Trabzonspor's opening match of the Turkey Super League session against Kocaelispor. The 31-year-old forward, who completed the permanent move from Southampton in summer, overcame an ankle injury to start and scored the match's only goal in the 49th minute, securing 3 points for the club. Onuachu's performance not only lifted team morale but also reinforced Trabzonspor's strategic investment in his transfer. The club views his consistent scoring ability, highlighted by his 17 goals in his full spell, as a key driver for both on-field success and commercial appeal. His return is expected to boost sticker sales, merchandise, and sponsorship engagement throughout the session. Coach Faith Teke emphasized the importance of starting with a victory, despite areas for improvement in the team's second-half performance. For Trabzonspor, maintaining momentum with star players like Onuachu is essential to competing for the league title and strengthening its financial position in both domestic and European competitions. And that's a wrap on the news this afternoon. But before we go, here is a recap of the top stories. President Bola Tinubu appoints Idris Olorunnimbe to lead NCC and drive Nigeria's digital expansion. In a new development, Dangote Petroleum Refinery slashes price of premium motor spirit by 30 naira. AFDB backs AI training to accelerate Agenda 2063 implementation for economic development. International Energy Agency warns of record oil surplus in 2026. English Premier Club West Ham United shifts transfer focus from Nigerian Onyedika to Congo's Mukau. And that's the news this afternoon. We say many thanks for watching. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms at Souqnews TV. My name is Grace Komalafe. Have a good afternoon.